summertime.
Hey! Summertime. Roof soft. I'm with late.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure everyone's fully aware that in quite a few interviews now, Eddie Hearn is relating to Joshua could be vacating his WBO belt against Alexander Usyk. There's a possibility that it could vacate, and you know when some people keep talking about it, two things is either you're just trying to get something your own way, or you get the opposite team to submit to something, or just pulling it in the air so people could be like, whoa, okay, Joshua's vacated the belt. But with me, like I've always said, this channel here is an unbiased channel, it's a straight shooting channel. I keep my same energy with all fighters, even though there might be some fighters that I do support, but if they do something wrong or whatever, I'm going to call it for what it is. Now, if Anthony Joshua vacates this belt, now do not get it twisted. I totally get it that, all right, you got to fight this guy. You ordered to fight that guy, and blah, blah, blah. That's being, that's what it is, being world champion. Yeah, unified world champion. You have to fight these mandatories. Yeah, so I don't find, obviously the dream is to become undisputed. It's part of the game. So obviously we're talking about vacating the WBO belt. Now, I know it's mad, and I gotta call it for what it is. It does look like a duck. Now, am I gonna say that Anthony Joshua is scared of fighting Usyk? Hell no. Anthony Joshua is not scared of fighting Usyk. But it's more of a thing, it's more of a, like, shout out to G-Man Boxing, by the way, but yeah, like exactly what he said, is more of a promotional, you as a promoter, right? If you got Usyk, who you ain't got no dealings with, on a one fight deal, Joshua loses to Usyk, you do not have no ties to this undisputed bout, all right? That's just what it is, okay? Now, obviously, you want a rematch clause in place that in case anything happens, they can run it back. But this is my problem with this whole, when it comes to these mandatories, yeah? Mandatories, you do not need no rematch clauses for. That's the whole point of being a mandatory challenger. If you get the win, you get the W, that's it, you sail off to the sunset and go where you want to go with it. Right? There's no, like I said, what's the problem? What is the problem with that? But obviously Eddie Hearn, on a business perspective, is like, right, you know what? I do believe, don't get it twisted, I'm not going to say that Eddie Hearn don't think that Joshua can't beat Usyk. Of course, Eddie Hearn's got full confidence in Joshua beating Usyk. The same way he must have had full confidence that Joshua was going to beat Ruiz. Look what happened. So, you know what? Let me just secure the bag. Let me look on all the let me look at all the worst case scenarios and have something in place. So, for example, whether Eddie Hearn said, all right, yeah, you know what? Okay, you can fight this mandatory, but you got to deal with me on a 2-fight deal basis, yeah? Or you could have this mandatory, but you're gonna have to. There's got to be a rematch clause in place. That there's going to be something that Eddie Hearn, because you got to realize if Usyk beats Joshua, he takes those belts, and then he could do a unification. Well, go for the undisputed bout against whoever comes on top between Wilder and Fury. So, yeah, it's just calling it for what it is. Now, obviously, Eddie Hearn is concerned based on that. Where if obviously, like, if it comes to Dylan White, now, I know Dylan White's on a 1-fight deal basis or something like that. He's got this relationship with Eddie Hearn on a fight by fight basis. But obviously, let's just say worst case scenario, they run it back. Let's say Joshua gets knocked out by Dylan White, then they run it back for a third time, or Joshua says, you know what, I'm just going to take some time off or whatever. Dylan White holds 2 of the belts because obviously that the WBO will be vacated. So yeah, he will hold 2 of the belts. So that clearly will mean that Joshua, yeah, I could do a unification, whether it would be Dylan White and Usyk on Dress, whoever comes up on top of that, or the WBC route between Wilder and Fury. So yeah, there's all of like I said, there's all of these options. Listen, it's all politics at the end of the day. But yeah, what everyone's saying, that if this doesn't go ahead, then we're gonna have to call it for what it is. Joshua's ducking Usyk, because that's how, as a clear as you just pull it bluntly like that. Joshua is ducking from Usyk. However, now obviously big shout out to Hatman Strikes Back, yeah, because obviously, yeah, I'm a supporter of his channel. But one thing I will say about Hatman, like this obviously is not, there's not a diss, there's not a direct or whatever shot. Let's call it for what it is. Obviously, clearly. Now, obviously, I know you're a guy who goes by, you're above. No one's below no one's above criticism. Basically, you're unbiased, and you just want to see fights. However, you cannot say on one scenario. Now, I'm not saying that you're saying this, but obviously I'm going by your recent videos, innit? You can't say, oh, is Joshua preparing to duck Usyk? Yeah. And then on the other case, when it comes to Tyson Fury, where Tyson Fury is showing all the signs of him not wanting Joshua. Like I said, you don't go by what's happened, you go by how they act. All right? Tyson Fury was more than happy to sign a contract live on ESPN and all this kind of stuff there. Does that look like a guy who's really disappointed on losing 100 million or whatever they was getting? Yeah? So, you say that about Joshua, I have no problem about that. I can even agree with you with that, but you have to keep the same energy with Tyson Fury. That's what it is. And I'm not going out there calling man a fanboy and all that kind of stuff there, because he's never portrayed himself as that way. So I'm just letting everyone know about that now. All right. So yeah, it's just that, yeah, with me, just that, yeah, it's got to be same energy throughout, beginning to end. And yeah, I have no problem people saying is Joshua ducking. If that happens, he vacates the belt, I will say it. I will say it. Now, obviously, you could talk about, the business perspective and all this kind of stuff there, whether it's coming from Eddie Hearn or not. You have to call it for what it is. But I'm that same energy throughout. Now, obviously, I don't want people thinking about this, but obviously I know a lot of people referring to, Dylan White, yeah? The offer was not good for Dylan White when he was supposed to fight Joshua back in 2019. All right. Now, if you take into consideration that Dylan White, by right, he's his own pay-per-view star. All right. I weren't there in the negotiations. I don't know what's happened there. All right. But so I just have to put this one out there. Dylan White clearly said this. Look, it was more of the rematch clause that was a problem than the negotiation, yeah. Because Dylan White, by obviously Josh was the bigger star, but Dylan White is his own star, yeah. Dylan White can pay-per-view himself, yeah. Obviously, now, what I'm trying to say to people is this: if you look at Dylan, yeah, you can't say, because I know everyone's saying about he avoided Anthony Joshua and all that kind of stuff. He never really pursued Anthony Joshua. I'm pretty sure he even said, listen, if it comes down to it, if you want to talk like that, if it comes down to that, I will fight my way into a mandatory position, yeah, and I will take my percentage and we'll sign no rematch clause or no nothing like that. I'm pretty sure Dylan White has said that. I'm pretty sure he said it. Did he do it? No. Obviously, he's been chasing the WBC route, which he has been from the get-go. But you got to look on it in Dylan White's perspective, yeah? And I don't want people to think, oh yeah, you're a fanboy. This ain't no fanboyism and all that kind of stuff. I'm just trying to look at it in his perspective. Ask yourself this question, all right? If man's saying that, right, there's an opportunity of me fighting for a world title against Anthony Joshua. Now, Would he have built confidence from knocking out Povetkin and all that kind of stuff there? 100%. But as an overall, when you look on the whole landscape of things, it's like, okay, Wilder and Fury are going at it for a trilogy, right? Whoever wins on top of that, they win. Still till right now, there's no call for the mandatory slot for Dillian Whyte. How long has Dillian Whyte been waiting for? Oh wait. So obviously, man's talking about, okay, you know what, taking his voluntary route. Obviously, the favour. It all depends on what the negotiations is. That's what I'm saying. You might even, Dillian Whyte be saying, nah, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing those negotiations. Forget that. Prime example. Look at Andy Ruiz. Look what Andy Ruiz did. Yeah. It was like I said. It was a whole rematch, and look how much they got. They got through the rematch. So yeah, like come on, man. That's all I got to say on that one. But yeah, anyone, if you're calling out there, you're calling, especially people out there. If you're saying that Joshua was preparing to duck Usyk, keep the same energy with Tyson Fury. Because if you want to talk about who's ducking who, Tyson Fury's ducking Joshua. And there's none of this whole, reasonables and like, oh yeah, well, it's because of this and it's because of that. No, my man is, Tyson Fury is ducking Joshua. Until they catch him in the ring, no problem. Like I said, Tyson Fury might be just like, listen, I'm not ready for this fight right now. I've been out in the ring for so long, blah, blah, blah. You're ducking him for now, but you're willing to challenge him next? Yeah, maybe, fair enough. But that's it, man. Call it for what it is. Anyway, that's just my thoughts. You lot tell me your thoughts. It's Elijah Fenn with Fenn and Boxing. Make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. And until the next one, stay blessed, everyone.
Summertime. Summertime. Real soft.